Today, we're diving into something that could totally reshape the construction industry. We're talking about a painting robot called Pictobot. But, the real story here isn't just about a robot. It's about a brand new kind of partnership.
Okay, just take a look at this. You've got a human painter tackling the lower part of a wall, and right next to him, this huge yellow robot is handling the top. This isn't some concept art. This is a real field test happening right now.
And this scene, well, it gets right to the heart of one of the biggest questions we're all grappling with when it comes to automation, right? Is this a machine coming for someone's job? Or are we looking at the start of an incredible new kind of teamwork?
So you might be wondering, why even build a painting robot? Well, to get that, you first have to understand just how grueling and, honestly, how dangerous the job of high-rise painting really is. I mean, think about it for a second. The job is just stacked with challenges. First, there's the obvious safety risk of being way up high on a scissor lift or a scaffold. It's also physically exhausting. You're constantly climbing, bending, reaching. On top of all that, it's really hard to keep the paint quality consistent. There's a major shortage of skilled painters, and you're breathing in nasty chemicals all day.
And this quote just nails the core problem. The source material points out that the very act of trying to paint from a shaky, awkward position high in the air works against you. Even the best painter is going to struggle to get a perfect finish under those conditions.
Now, people have tried to automate painting before. Here are a couple of early attempts. You've got the Tammer robot on the left and a roller-based one on the right. But, well, these early models just couldn't cut it. They didn't have the reach for today's tall buildings, and they just weren't adaptable enough for the messy, unpredictable reality of a construction site.
So if just throwing a robot at the problem wasn't the solution, what was? Well, this is where it gets really interesting. The researchers decided to aim for something different. Not replacement, but enhancement.
And the breakthrough idea was human-robot collaboration. It's a simple concept, but it's incredibly powerful. You basically take the best of both worlds. You get human intelligence, our ability to strategize and solve problems on the fly, and you pair that with the robot's insane precision and its ability to just go and go and go without getting tired.
And the perfect embodiment of this whole idea is the star of our show.
Let me introduce you to Pictobot. The name actually comes from the Latin word for painter, which is perfect because that's what it's built to be, a painter's partner. It was designed from the ground up to work right alongside people, taking over all the most repetitive and dangerous parts of the job.
So how does this thing work? Well, think of it in 4 parts. It all starts with a mobile base to move it around the site. On top of that, you have this massive telescopic lift that can reach up to 10 meters. We're talking 3 stories high. Then there's this super precise 6-axis robotic arm. And at the very end, you have the smart painting head, which has the spray gun and, this is the key, a 3D camera.
And here it is, the whole shebang. This is Pictobot in its natural habitat, an industrial warehouse, all geared up and ready to go. This really gives you a sense of the scale of this thing. It's no toy.
Okay, so this is where it gets really cool, how they actually split up the work. This isn't a situation where you just press a button and walk away. No, this is a real, dynamic partnership.
So here's the division of labor, and it's brilliant. The human operator is basically the brain of the operation. They handle the strategy, the setup, they position the robot, and they do quality control. They even paint the lower sections that are easy to reach. Meanwhile, Pictobot is the brawn. It does the tough stuff, the tireless, repetitive spraying way up high, using its sensors to maintain a perfect distance and speed that a human just couldn't manage.
And how does the human control this giant machine? With this. It's a surprisingly simple joystick-style controller. They get a first-person video feed straight from the robot, so they can easily and precisely get it into the perfect spot to start working.
Now here's where Pictobot gets really, really smart. Construction sites are messy, right? Walls are never perfectly flat like they are in the blueprints. So instead of trusting those flawed plans, Pictobot uses what they call a sensor-driven approach. It adapts to the world as it actually is. And that is a total game changer for getting robots out of the pristine factory and onto a chaotic job site.
So here's how it does it. Once the human gets it into position, the robot takes over. Its 3D eye-and-hand camera scans the real wall surface, creating this incredibly detailed digital map of every single bump, dip, and imperfection. And then, using that custom map it just created, Pictobot's brain automatically calculates the absolute perfect path for the spray gun. It plans every single motion to keep the nozzle at the exact right distance and angle, guaranteeing a perfectly even coat no matter how wavy the wall is. Okay, this all sounds amazing in theory, but the real question is, does this partnership actually work better out in the field? Well, let's look at the data from the experiments.
When it comes to speed, the results are pretty darn clear. To paint a 100 square meter area, a team of 2 or 3 painters on a lift would take more than 3 hours. The human Pictobot team, with just 1 operator, got it done in about 2 hours. That's a huge boost in productivity.
And it's not just faster, it's way more efficient. The robot's incredible precision led to a 27% higher transfer efficiency. Now, that's a bit of a technical term, but what it means for you and me is that way more paint actually ends up on the wall, and way less is wasted as overspray and harmful dust floating in the air. So when you just look at the whole picture, the benefits are just, wow, the partnership is way safer. It basically gets rid of the risk of falling. It produces a much higher, more consistent quality paint job. It cuts the number of workers needed from 2 or 3 down to just 1 operator. And it turns a physically brutal job into something much easier.
But really, the success of Pictobot points to something much bigger than just painting. This is about a fundamental shift in how we think about work, not just in construction, but in tons of other industries too.
And that leaves us with one final, big question to chew on. If this partnership model can make painting safer, faster, and better, where else can we apply it? What other jobs, the ones that are dangerous, dull, and dirty, could be completely transformed for the better by a real human-robot team?